like there's spring, and then there's summer, right? And then there's fall. And then winter. Fall is just like, oh, are they, oh, they're waiting. Oh, well then, let's go ahead and go on in. Come on in. It's the perfect way to end an imperfect week. It's the perfect way to end an imperfect week. It's East Nashville Happy Hour with our very special guest, Elizabeth Cook. Oh my God. Right on the wings of the angels of love who were on our side. It's a little slower. It's the perfect way to say we love you. It's East Nashville Happy Hour! That's all. I am filming now, but I will take care of you. I will totally take care of you.
It is?
Oh, no.
Okay. Nothing wrong is going to
No,
be
that's good. That's good.
disseminated to the masses.
Sure.
Just a little bit
Oh,
more.
that sounds delicious.
Great.
That's a great camera.
Okay.
You did a good job.
Anyway, this is East Nashville Happy Hour. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm wearing a button-down shirt, so you know it's a pretty special occasion.
You may want to get the orb of truth, dude.
Shit! I'd like to say that it's a thing that we do every time, that I forget the orb of truth, but it's not. I actually forget the orb of truth every time. Anyway, this is Elizabeth Cook, everybody.
Hi. Hi.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me over.
First question would be, why did you decide to be with us?
My manager Larry told me to be here.
And Larry's here with us.
Larry's here.
To your left there. Enjoy tonight, because it'll be clearly the last time that you work for Elizabeth. You are clearly the very best guest we've had so far. Everybody who we've had is just
a lot of losers.
Pretty much losers.
Yeah,
like,
I heard. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to come over. I was like,
just
these
to kind
guys.
of elevate it.
Yeah.
Like Alan Thompson. That's one of our best.
He has my judge shirt.
Like Alan and Patrick Sweeney. Bradbury, Darren Bradbury. Like Andrew Leahy also was on the show. Who wants Andrew Leahy to be on his... Oh, it's Andrew Leahy. Oh my goodness. That's right. Andrew Leahy's going to be co-hosting with us tonight. I have had this question. It's only been the last couple days that I thought, oh my God, this is a godsend. I can't believe she's going to be here. I can ask this question. And you probably get it all the time. But can you come help me with this thing on my computer? Come here for a second. I think you may have. When you clicked that, you clicked it off.
Damn it.
Andrew Leahy, who, of course, I was kidding. He's one of the very best guests.
No, thank you.
And almost as pretty as her.
He's
almost.
Prettier. Andrew is prettier than everybody.
No.
Andrew and Elizabeth, hair tips. I want you to both talk amongst yourselves, and we'll listen about how you get your hair to look so nice.
You wear a hat.
Every chance I get.
I don't wash mine.
Ever?
I wash it every, maybe like 5 days, like once a week.
Mm-hmm. I have to wash mine like from being on the road and getting product buildup.
I don't use products, like that's it too.
And that's really nice. See, your hair is
Yeah,
naturally
you guys wash
healthy.
your hair.
My hair only looks healthy because it is a synthetic like overlay of products.
What do you use?
Baby powder. I don't know if you guys have tried washing your hair in El Lagarto, but
Jay washes
that's what's
his
up.
hand earlier.
That's what's up.
What I do is put coconut oil and jojoba. I think that's how it's pronounced, right? Jojoba. It's spelled
Is that right?
Jojoba from
I
Trader
pronounced
Joe's.
the J.
Jojoba?
Jojo.
Yeah, it sounds like a
I just
J.
feel
I
like
like jojoba.
jojoba.
I like this. Jojoba. That's what
Oh, that's what it is.
That's what I choose to believe it is. That's
Okay.
what I choose to believe it is.
I put liquid coconut oil and jojoba oil in
Jojoba.
when I
Man.
wash it, when it's wet still.
We're talking
And do
every
you rinse
5
that
days.
out?
No.
No. So
it's
this
just
is
like it
this is
helps.
an after treatment.
Correct. It is
Okay.
a leave-in thing.
It's his Andrew
And
Leahy's
then-
leaving.
Yeah.
Andrew Leahy and the Leaving.
Andrew Leahy's leaving.
His new band will be doing a residency at the Basement East on Tuesdays.
Andrew Leahy, the guy who is such a wonderful musician and has been on this show as a musician,
Sound like old
is a
Barbara.
journalist too. Point number 1, I need another drink. Point number 2, Andrew's a journalist and he's really good and he's going to ask some questions.
Hold your mic. Please, let me get on camera.
Is there any more El Lagarto?
I think
No.
so.
Did we say that I bought the last 2 El Lagartos and you may not ever get to buy it because it's
It's doing well. It's
Too
really
popular.
good. It's really,
It's
really
It's
good.
nice.
not almost gone,
very,
though,
very
right? It's
I
still...
think they're gonna brew it again.
you go ahead and ask some real questions.
Real questions, real music questions?
Yeah.
Real life
Do what
music
you do.
questions.
Do what you do, Rolling Stone.
Okay.
He is a writer for Rolling Stone, it's true.
So we're playing a lot of new songs, like brand new songs, and songs from Exodus of Venus.
Yes.
So I love Exodus. I think that's
Thank you.
just a great cohesive album, great vibes, but it's not normally what you do, right?
Well, I just don't know if I have a normal at this
Sure.
point because I don't feel like I've been putting out records regularly enough to have a normal. So, like, I hadn't put out a record since 2010,
Welder.
which was Welder. So,
So what was the gospel album?
that's right. There was the gospel EP in between.
EP.
And actually,
Yes.
I had to do that because Dave Letterman wanted me to come on and be a musical guest, and we didn't have any new music.
And you needed
And-
something just to
So
throw
we
together.
went, and I had been doing gospel stuff in my set, so we just went in real quick and like threw down gospel plow in like 2 days.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elizabeth Cook.
If I had my way, if I had my way, if I had my way, I would tear this building down.
Your new material, it sounds like of its own vibe. So where is that going, and what kind of turn is that from Exodus?
Man, I don't know yet. My prediction for Exodus of Venus was that it was going to be a country funk record, and so that's not that turned out to be at all. So whatever I predict it to be,
true.
it won't be what it is. I looked at a lot of REM and just some different, like the countryer side of REM. My goal is that it's going to be sort of like a marriage between Welder and Exodus somehow. But I don't know what'll happen. I mean, I'll finish writing the songs and you get in the studio and you know how it goes. It's like, who the fuck knows what it's going to come. I wish I could dictate it.
Sure.
Say, I think I'll remake, Harvest Moon, but
You
who
should
the
totally
fuck can
remake
dictate?
that.
I would love to try
That'd
it.
be
If
great
I
if you
did,
did that.
it would be handy for
Dean
me.
will play the broom.
Yeah. But I think that, I have not successfully been able to dictate that. It sort of seems to take on a life of its own.
So when you write like a new song and you're done and you're weighing whether it's great or just good, like whose opinion do you count first after yours?
It'd be like a live audience. So
Yeah.
it's playing it live, breaking those out, and I can feel it when a weak line goes by.
Yeah.
And then half the time I forget to work on it, and then the next night I'm sitting there and it comes up again. I'm like, motherfucker, when am
think on
I
your
gonna
feet.
finish working on this song that's sucking right here? A lot of the Exodus stuff was a jump off of a guitar riff, and then I would start writing over it, and just going
like
back and
scatting
going back,
almost?
yes, and then going back into and then it would be a process of going into journals and then finding those good couplets and then writing to those good couplets and then weeding out. And I usually write a whole bunch of verses.
So let me get this straight though. When you hear a guitar riff, you've had things that you have written and you decide to use those and put them.
Yes.
That is the coolest thing.
Yes.
I
And
don't know many
sometimes
people
it's
write
like
like
singing directly over the melody of the riff, or sometimes it's like a playing off the riff.
So you get something so totally unexpected, because if you were just to
Right.
sing to the riff, you'd be trying to fit it into some kind of form that fit completely rhythmically, ba 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 ba, 4 beats.
And I think I do that to a certain extent because I'm a math nerd. I like regimented concision and phrasing and stuff. So I definitely, would go back and I'd find stuff that I've written, but it doesn't necessarily stay just like I wrote it. If I massage it into the song,
Right.
it could, like a lot of syllables could go, or in order for it to fit.
That's
So
really
it does get chiseled.
That's a real thing, the math nerd thing. Math
It's
and
a
music.
different side of the brain, and to me, like writing, I find that I've got my free form that's just like stream of consciousness, crazy stuff, ideas, and I have tons and tons and mountains of it. But the problem I have with it, and my challenge comes in switching to that side where you Rubik's cube it into an arrangement and into the exact phrasing and that's sitting down and doing your taxes to me. Maybe if one day if I get good enough I can do both at the same time, but I don't tend to. I tend to like really spit a lot of random stuff and then go back and shape that into something.
But that's
That's
your process, though.
my process.
That's the process.
I assume that you exercise, you more or less complete independence over your art.
Yes.
When did your 2002, the Warner Brothers album?
Yes.
Came out? Do you think that you can define what it even means to be independent, given that you were on this like major label at the height of like huge country labels and giant budgets and controlling mechanisms?
Yes. So what now? But yeah, I was in on that. I was a Music Row kid. I made my first indie record in 1999. Girlfriend took my picture and we went to Kinko's and got color copy and I cut it out and like ordered 1,000. It was a big deal. Sent them to all the radio stations in Belgium. Like did all that.
Where can that be found?
In Belgium. Then I got asked to be on the Grand Ole Opry and started showcasing, and that built into me signing with Atlantic, and then Warner Brothers got my contract from Atlantic when there was a merger between Time Warner and AOL.
Absorbed, not absolved. Do you think that you can appreciate your independence, your current sovereignty, given like at one point you had this like label telling you you can't tour, there's no hit yet to go tour?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't really play their game and they didn't really play mine. It was a misfit and a frustrating union at every step. I was label mates with like Blake Shelton and stuff, and it's really odd.
Where is he these days?
And where is he? Yeah, I wanted to tour. I wanted to get better. I wanted to, have weird photo shoots. I wanted to do all that stuff, and it wasn't their job. But yeah, I was really lucky to get out of it when I did. I was lucky that 30 Tigers was starting. It's fun. It's exciting to see everything now. I mean, there was no Americana scene or really like other music scene in Nashville, period.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Cool, that wraps up the musical portion.
That wraps up the legitimate.
We don't have
a name for it. The music
Andrew
portion?
Leahy's
They named their segments.
They named
Just trying to do like an alliterative
Andrew's deeper look.
A look with Leahy.
A look with Leahy.
A look with Leahy.
A Leahy look. A Leahy
look.
deep look.
Why is that
Deeper.
too deep?
I don't know, because everything that we do is not deep. Oh, we've got a growler coming.
We've got a growler of Elegarte coming.
I am so
Do we? Does money go toward charity if we get a growler? Is that part
I
of
don't
the
know
deal?
if we're
That's
paying
pretty
for it
desperate.
in this.
Just bring a growler.
I love it.
Okay. I'd like to introduce Professor Dumo and his music fact or fable segment.
Oh God.
Professor Dumo's
I hope this is about
fact.
like Buck Owens or something.
Oh,
Because I don't
close.
know
No,
anybody else.
no,
I don't
no.
know any other
Very
music.
close.
I
Real
don't
close.
know any rock music. I don't know
close.
any of
Real
it.
close.
It's very similar to what they do on NPR. It's actually a complete and total ripoff. I'm going to give you 3 stories, and one of them is true.
Okay.
Okay? They're going to be in detail. They are about famous musicians. You just have to tell me which one is true.
Okay.
Okay? The first one. Boy George was originally called King George. On the first Culture Club record, White Boy, the band is listed as Michael Craig instead of Mikey Craig, as he's more commonly known, John Moss, Roy Hay, and King George. The BHS, the British Historical Society, promptly filed a lawsuit against the band and demanded that he remove the King from his name. In an act of defiance, the singer decided to call himself Boy George in order to sound as mockingly meek as possible. Planning on reverting to King George if the suit was settled, Boy George appeared on the track listing of their next single, I'll Tumble For Ya. The song was a hit, and the name stuck.
Okay, that's the pop version, and then we're gonna get to some more Americana country.
Is that a question? I don't.
I
So
think
that's
there's
one
reading
thing.
multiple stories, and I'm
Okay,
supposed
so
to say if that was
multiple
true or not, but I have to
You
compare
have to
against
listen to
another story.
to listen to
am
the
I
three.
right?
That's
Awesome.
correct. Yes.
I love this. Yeah.
Stick to Rolling Stone, buddy. You're out of your league, buddy. Number 2. Johnny Cash was almost responsible for wiping out an entire species while camping in a California. I'm looking at Elizabeth too, dude.
I
You
know.
always have a problem with everything I do.
I would like for you to.
Okay, get a compass out and make sure I'm turned to
Can
the
you
exact-
imagine David Letterman just
Fuck
having his
this.
back to the
Yeah,
camera?
but he doesn't push Paul.
So Johnny Cash is responsible for...
Johnny Cash was
in
almost
California
responsible
camping.
for
Okay.
wiping out an entire species.
Okay.
While camping in a California national forest in the 60s, Cash parked his home-rigged party truck in the park where it overheated and started a massive fire that burned hundreds of acres. The blaze killed 49 of the area's 53 endangered California condors. When asked to apologize, the man in black flatly refused, saying, "I don't give a damn about your damn yellow buzzards."
So of course they're black. So I would say that's probably anyway.
Last story.
California condors
ready?
are black.
George Jones once sued a restaurant critic for defamation of character. In 1966, a local Dallas food writer asked a waiter for steak sauce after taking a bite of one of Jones's prime Texas steaks at his short-lived Denton Steakhouse, Shirley Ann's, named after his second wife. The notoriously surly Jones flew into an outrage and ejected the critic from his restaurant without his food. The restaurant review ran the next week with the headline, and I love this, "Not So Tender Steers," was the headline. Jones filed a libel claim stating, "I'll be damned if I'm going to let some local jock put A1 on my steaks, have him back for some of my dessert, and I'll be waiting for him." The Dallas Tribune fired the critic and settled for 25 grand, calling Jones a national treasure. Shirley Ann's closed shortly 2 years later.
Okay, so one of those stories is true,
One of those stories is true.
and two of them are false.
2 of them are false.
I've never heard any of them,
Yeah.
Ah,
so it's a complete guess. I think the Boy George one is true.
Okay.
okay.
You say the Boy George one is true.
Okay.
Johnny Cash is true.
You're both going to go with Johnny Cash.
Johnny
What are you gonna
Cash
say?
is 100% true.
I trust these two.
All three of you guys.
Well,
are
now I'm
Johnny
going to
Cash.
change mine.
What do you want to change it to?
The Johnny Cash one.
Well, all 4 of you are correct. Johnny Cash was almost single-handedly responsible for the extinction of.
But
Heard
to
the
make you
buzzards
feel better,
line before.
do you know how long we worked on that Boy George story?
I thought that it was Red was such like a almost like a litigator. I totally bought it. I
To
bought
make
that.
me feel worse, why did you say 50-50? This segment's not going to see the light of day. But it's my only segment, and immediately
You can have
after I'm
other
done,
segments.
he said it's not going to see the light of day. Do you see what kind of respect I get?
None.
I loved it. It was incredibly well written.
Good, thank you. Andrew was impressed.
I really was.
I pretty much wrote it. It's not true. Jay wrote it.
Read. Well read.
No, Jay wrote it and read it. I probably had like 25%.
No one bought the George Jones story?
Now I feel bad.
A lot of emotional issues.
Look at him over there. How's everybody
You
feeling?
ran out of El Lagarto.
Yeah.
I think
Fucking
Ivan might
guy
be.
was here, yeah.
He might
Do
be
we have El
Oh,
Lagarto?
is that who Jay's talking to?
He's here.
Oh,
He brought it.
We have a special appearance.
Down, Andrew.
Ivan, come on around here. Show the folks at the East Nashville Happy Hour what we've got.
Hi,
Take
sir.
it to the camera.
My name's Dean. Your name?
Hey, I'm Ivan. Nice to meet you.
Ivan. Nice to meet
Dean.
you. What do we have here?
And this one's named Eligarto. It's a growler of Eligarto. Yeah. So, I didn't know we were on TV.
You're on
So this is Eligarto. It's a big, beautiful growler.
Turn it on, Ivan.
Big,
Turn it
beautiful.
on, baby.
Yes. And we're going to drink this whole thing before we leave here tonight. It's got spices of Everglades seasonings, and it's a wheat beer-based beer, just because wheat sort of is a good base for all those Everglades spices like orange peel, coriander, lemon peel, dissolved bodies of drug dealers, stuff like that. So,
Very Florida.
yeah, so it's a good, easy drinking, light beer.
Now there's good news and bad news. It's the same thing. I went to the Inglewood Kroger, and I bought the last 2 bottles.
You weren't looking in the right place, probably.
That could be.
Yeah, I kind of went on there on Friday and sandwiched them in between the Hot Perfect and the Gerst.
I really felt so special that I took the last 2 bottles.
Well, you are really special.
Do you do a lot of these special things connected to? This is kind of the...
I mean, we do our Embrace the Funk releases, which are barrel-aged sours and stuff like that, and that's our special stuff. And then we have our flagship beers. This is at least the first time in a year that we've done a special beer for somebody without it being like some barrel-aged Embrace the Funk stuff. So we're just fans of Elizabeth Cook, and we listen to her on satellite radio.
And I love Willie Nelson, and Willie Nelson, 84 years old now. And God bless Willie, and I don't know why, maybe it's just he can't help himself. Kelly Ripa could call him this afternoon and say, Willie, I'm thinking about doing I'll be there. I'll be right over. And he would be doing an album with Kelly Ripa.
He's just making records all the time.
That was where all this came from, I think.
Let's have some.
Let's have some.
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
Yeah, I drank the whole
Why don't
entire weight of it probably within a week.
I drank so much last night.
You're responsible for most of the sales.
I have this.
I think I am.
Yeah.
I think it needs to end with a toast to El
can I have
Barco.
some of that?
growler at? Who drank it all already?
I drank a lot of whole thing.
It's only half gone.
What's
I
that?
like that you smell it.
Andrew, yes.
It's so
Just to get
salty.
you a little whiff.
It's so
It's
savory.
like the ocean.
That's the
good.
biggest thing that I feel about
Here we
it.
go.
Is that,
Go, Ivan! Ah, you're a professional.
who do you think you are? Some kind of important representative of
He is
Yazoo?
a fucking beer mogul.
Brewer? I don't know. Yeah. I used to be a
Mogul.
brewer over there. Now I just sort of stock shelves and shit like that. So.
I don't buy
He
it.
made El Lagarto come to life.
The healthcare industry is sort of in a shit show right now, and musicians and bartenders can reach out to Music Health Alliance and Music Cares and get, help with health coverage, which is amazing. And just for us to raise awareness about that has made it worth all the time and effort we've put into this. That's what we're really proud of, is raising awareness and raising money for Music Health Alliance and Music Cares, and passing the word along so that we're all on the same page about it.
I think we all assume in some ways that we can't take care of ourselves. We just that we can't afford to, that the resources aren't there for us, that we get judged for being musicians. But Music Health Alliance is really working to be no, here's a general practitioner, here's resources, here's a doctor that will see you and help you, and here's helping us navigate the healthcare system. I think we just assumed that it was not there for us, especially.
Yeah. That's a wonderful place to end it in terms of the non-musical portion of the show, but would you mind at least singing one song?
Oh shit! Can I sit here and do it?
Yeah, you sure can.
Somebody grab me a guitar.
Yeah. Look at all of them. Look at all 37 of them. They really want you to...
37 people.
I think so.
All right.
All 37.
No, there'll be thousands. There'll be eventually thousands of people who will see it. Let's all gather around. Let's go all gather around, Elizabeth. It's not a big deal that I'm standing here.
Yeah,
I
let's
don't
just
want-
hang out.
It's a good effort. Nice effort, Andrew.
Okay, I'm gonna sing.
Okay. What you gonna sing for us?
Really sing. I'm still learning a new one, so you have to suffer through it. Standing by, God, Terry knew exactly how it felt to play a George Jones song. A white leather belt with matching shoes, polyester blues. At the Pine Grove Lounge for all you can drink booze. A bloody bucket of full bras. Who had been clean shaven when they started at 10. When Stanley got going, Mama by his side and Daddy on bass, saying Charlie Pride, Elijah Folsom, stand by your man. Just a few you might hear from the band, nobody guessing like Tom T. Hall. Sad spun laughs off the disco he could really drink. Somebody finally say exactly what they think. And so does pine saw last night's beer. Makes a mighty fine line between fun and fear. There's a fighter in every dancing fool. I watched it all as a baby from a black bar stool. Stanley's wife Carol didn't care to hang around. She liked her drink, she didn't take it in town. They knocked down, drag out every weekend. By Sunday somebody's face was on the mend and passed out cold on the concrete porch. Love sure is a bitch when your liver is scorched. South end of the county had a whole nother bar where the band would play. Since it wasn't very far, there was more strange women, even more smoke in a field by a legendary live oak. Carol came in hot on Hennessy, left and wrapped her car around that live oak tree. I remember in the morning Mama dropping the phone. I remember harsh words, hearing Daddy groan. They had a pretty daughter, shy little Sherry. We went and picked her up from the school library. She was 16 and could sing so sweet. And on a really good night she'd babysit me. After all that, it gets kind of cloudy, but 2 years later she was Miss Sumter County, a small town trashy, tragic ghost. She feathered her hair and sang the rose. The whole Cow Palace knew just how she felt. And Stanley, by God, Terry wore a white leather belt. And country music and hillbilly pain. Big stories that'll hurt you and hold you like a chain.
Yeah.
It's a Southern story, right? This is
Southern
just an
story.
upbringing.
Stanley by God Terry.
What's that called?
Stanley by God Terry. It's a true story. He's the guy that fronted the honky tonk band with my mom.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for having me.
hanging out. I'm feeling pretty good off this El Lagarto.
We had to get some El Lagarto delivered.
Goodness gracious.
Well, the better you feel, the more money is raised for Music Health Alliance.
That's right.
That's East Nashville Happy Hour. She's gonna go do her real show now. Now she's gonna have to actually go do a real show after this bullshit.
Hey!
Well, you were good, Jay. You were good.
Yeah, I got a 50-50 chance of being good.
It was behind the bench on the patio and soaking wet.
I'm not turning the camera off. We can just see what happens here.
It's gotta be yours.
I see what you're doing. You're trying to get some candid stuff.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, okay.
You won't get
My
it.
neighbor
Not
across
for me.
the street.
You're not on camera anymore. You can say whatever.
No, he is. He really is. He's running. So.
They're losing.
It actually is running.
It is running.
But California condors are black, aren't they? So why did he say damn yellow buzzards?
Maybe like they're cowards.
I'm just going to go ahead and talk to you from now on because clearly she's...
Do it again. I know you want to do it again. Do it again.
Jojoba!
Jojo.
Kind of like Jar Jar Binks, but it's not. For the record, you're all excused. You can leave.
Yeah.
Latitude,
Belgium.
you know, like a...
Trying to get out of the camera. I'm doing worse.
All
Very
right.
Scottish.
I can block you.
Wave. Everybody wave.
When you tried to grow, I've always
Oh, shit.
because I've tried to grow my hair tons of times. I don't think I have.
It's hard, like left and right with the, and while looking at it.
So long, folks. And thanks, Harry.
See you next episode, everybody.
Bye. The show's over. It's kind of like for Ferris Bueller. The show's over. Go home.
It is